Hey everybody, it's Rob Williams from the Generation X-Wing podcast and the Outer Rim Rookie. Welcome to another episode. Today is not about a build. Today is about pronunciation. Recently, I've been able to spread the word that I'm building a Nien Nunb costume. And I've been so excited, and I've been reaching out to people for advice, for help, going to the Rebel Legion for advice. And today was an awesome day. Yesterday, I opened up a new Instagram account strictly for the Outer Rim Rookie, so I could put all my cosplay, all my building there, and just focus on the Scout Trooper work, the building of the Nien Nunb costume, as well as just my work for the 501st. And with that, I got a little bit of attention from a certain Mike Quinn. Now, you may know Mike Quinn as the puppeteer or the actor who played Nien Nunb, and of course Reese, the puppet Reese. I mean, I love it already. He's become like, I'm one of his biggest fans now. So when he followed me on Instagram, he also told me that there is a Nien Nunb costume building Facebook site, which I had already applied to, strangely enough, 2 days before he followed me on Instagram. And so my request got accepted. I jumped in there and said hi to everybody and told them what I'm doing here, and also just get some advice on certain things like the jumpsuit or so. But already, one of my fears came true, and it's about pronunciation. Since I started this journey of building a Nien Nunb costume, I've always been curious about how to pronounce the name Nien Nunb. Nien Nunb? Nien Nunb? Nien Nunb? Nien Nunb? There are so many different ways to pronounce this. As a kid, I pronounced it Nien Nunb. As I got older, I hear more people say Nien Nunb, Nien Nunb. It's such a complicated name. In Star Wars, we've had many debates about names. Han, Han, Leia, Leia, Twi'lek, Twi'lek. Nobody can agree on just one name. Much like in English, Porsche, Porsche, Nike, Nike. Aluminum, aluminium. I mean, they all have their different pronunciations depending on where you've come from, where you grew up, and how you learned the language. And Star Wars is no different. And this is especially difficult when you're talking about an alien that is never mentioned in the movie. All you have to go with, as a kid in 1983, was the package. And that's it. So today I decided to dive in a little bit on how to pronounce this Sullustan's name. For the last couple episodes, I've been calling it Nien Nunb, just because, again, that's how I learned it. That's how I trained myself to say it. But as I delve deeper, and over time, knowing people and getting into that world of nerdom and Star Wars fandom, you start to realize that people take this very seriously, and people have different opinions about this. So I want to try and figure out, how do you pronounce his name? So just recently, I put out a poll with my local friends of the Outer Rim Garrison of BC, the Falcon-based Rebel Legion of BC, the Wasura Clan, that's the Mando Mercs, the Droid Builders, the Saber Guild. We called ourselves the BC Galactic Cantina, just as a way to bring us together. We're actually very tight with each other. We like to connect, and we like to support each other, no matter what legion or association you're from. And many of these people are from more than one. So I put a poll out saying, help me, how do you pronounce this name? And I put a couple options up there. Nien Nunb, Nien Nunb, Nien Nunb, and Nien Nunb. And the discussion kind of grew and grew and grew. And I also asked for, how do you know? Give me proof, tell me how you learned it, where did you hear it from? And the responses I got was so immense. And I dived deeper and deeper, and I just actually really enjoy trying to figure out, what's his name? How do you pronounce your name? Let's take a look at one part of the name. So I'm going to go back to when I was a kid and think about, how did I pronounce it then and why? A lot of the time when you're a kid, you don't really get a pronunciation. Back in the 80s, there's really no guide to how to pronounce unless they actually say it. And even then it's confusing, because when you hear Han Solo and Han Solo in the same movie, it gets a little confusing. When I get this action figure spelled Nien, I just have to go to my basic, and in 1983, my basic grade 5-6 pronunciation guide in my head. What was I taught by Mr. Munson or Mr. Bahana? And I start to think of words like believe or belief, field, chief. All words that have IE in them that say E in it. And you think of also other Star Wars characters like Admiral Piet. And you think of famous places in the world like Dieppe, which is in France. So when I think of IE, I think of E. But also my brain goes to the other side. There are other words with IE that are pronounced I, such as pie, die, tie, lie. Those have an I sound. But the difference with those, it doesn't follow by another letter. It ends with IE. So where do I go? That's not helping. This is not helping me solve my problem. And then there's other words like with IE, like friend. And so is it Nien Nunb? That doesn't, no, that's not working. And those are rare examples. After teaching English for so long to middle schoolers and knowing so many people that are learning the language, when you try to teach them an English rule, there's always an exception. I before E, except after C. Except for this word, and this word, and that word. In fact, this is not a rule anymore, it's just majority rules. So what about other pronunciations? Now let's fast forward a couple years. Maybe, knowing Ben Burt, is it related to the traditional language that he used for Nien Nunb? From what I understand, he used two different kinds of versions of an African language, Haya and Kikuyu. Check out a great story I put on my Facebook page. It's from the StarWars.com, In Search of Nien Nunb, where they look into the history of the voice actor who played him. And it's actually a very wonderful story. So I decided, well, let's look at some words that are in Kikuyu that would have that spelling of IE, and how do they pronounce it? And I could only find one, and technically it's not an IE. The Kikuyu language don't just have the regular A-E-I-O-U vowels. They also have two vowels with an accent on it, I and E. And in the words that I found, they all have the accent, so this is not really a true representation of IE, so I can't use that example. So there goes that theory. So when I put the word out to my friends at the BC Galactic Cantina, I said, give me your sources. And the first one that came up was the first one I expected to come up. And it's this 1983 commercial where you can mail away for Nien Nunb.
Now there's a brand new action figure not yet available in stores. It's Nien Nunb. You can get Nien Nunb free with 5 proofs of purchase from any Star Wars action figure.
This is probably the first official time we hear his name. This kid who's asking you to mail away for this awesome figure. Now you have to assume that since they're selling action figures, they must know how to pronounce his name. And how well do these commercial directors truly understand how to pronounce an alien's name from Star Wars? And I can tell you right now, as a kid, when I look back at those Sears catalogs from '83, and they're holding their weapon like a weird way, you know that these people doing these commercials don't truly understand the world of Star Wars. So how dependable is this? But does that matter? Did this pronunciation make it official? How much power did this kid have in the pronunciation of an alien that will last decades later? So far, that's a point in the 9 category. Another theory that was brought to me, that was also mentioned by Mike Quinn himself, was the origin of the name. The story about the alien stems from his original number, being number 9.
His name was never mentioned on any film or anything, so you kind of go with how it looks. So there isn't really a right or wrong way, but when he started out as a background chorus line creature, he was just number 9 on the list of creatures. And then when he got upgraded into the Falcon, they just sort of called, oh, we've got to give him a name, let's call him Nien Nunb. So to me, he's always been Nien Nunb.
Number 9 alien, Nien Nunb. So that's another point in the Nien Nunb category. So another source that my friends told me about was the book Battlefront, Twilight Company. A friend of mine, Bradley, actually let me hear the little snippet of where they actually mentioned his name in the audiobook. And it is pronounced none of the above.
And if the rebellion comes to Sullustan, we have failed at our foremost duty to keep and maintain order. Memorize the names on display. Nien Nunb. Nien Nunb.
That is a very different pronunciation. One that people more joke about than actually believe it to be true. So how trustworthy are these narrators of these audio books? How well are they guided? How well are they corrected? I mean, sure, if you're pronouncing Darth Vader, Dark Vader, you're probably going to be corrected. So if you're given like these rare names you don't fully understand, that one might go under the radar. So how close are they? And how much direction are they given? And how much of their actual personal accent, whether they're from England or Australia or America or Canada or Sweden or Zimbabwe, how much does that play into it? How much artistic license is allowed to be used when reading an audiobook? Do we always trust the lore that's been put in front of us? Can we believe anything that's put out by Star Wars? If it's on film, that's how you pronounce it. What about the Star Wars Holiday Special? In the Star Wars Holiday Special, and no, it's not canon, but it does live longer than pretty much every movie except for one. And in that episode, they talk about the homeworld of Chewbacca. What we know as Kashyyyk was pronounced Kazook. I don't know how it happened. I mean, a lot of that, as we all know, a lot of that show is not really canon. What do we believe? Can we trust the sources in front of us? Or do we have to evaluate the source itself? Just like in the TV commercial, how much faith do we put in a TV commercial that is not truly written by Lucasfilm? Just like the Holiday Special was not truly written by George Lucas. How much faith do we put in this? Do we believe the storyteller? Do we believe the source? We want to put faith in the people who played the part. We want to put faith in the actors. Example, the controversy of Die Hard being a Christmas movie. Depending on who you ask, and it's a very touchy subject, and I'm not even going to put my opinion out there because those who know me know my opinion, and that's not the point. Depending on who you ask, it's a Christmas movie. But if you ask Bruce Willis what his opinion was, he flat out says it's not a Christmas movie. So who do you believe? The actor, the director, or the person who wrote the book in the first place? Whose source is it? Who is the ownership of this story? Who is the ownership of truth? Is that kid actor in the commercial the ownership of truth? Is the narrator of the Twilight Company the ownership of truth? Is the directors of the narration or the TV commercial the ownership of truth? Are they the one that makes things canon? So when I put a poll out on my Instagram as well as the Facebook page with my friends, it was pretty split. Nien Nunb. Now there was also some discussion of Nunb or Nun. Well, we'll put that to the side right now. We're not going to deal with that. Let's just get the first half of his name. It's pretty 50-50. I went online and checked to see how other people pronounce it, from Star Wars Explained to just even game streamers. And it's pretty split down the middle. Nien. This isn't helping. So, let's go back to Mike Quinn. What does he say? At first I was going to say, well, how do I find out? Then it dawns on me, the dude did an intro for my podcast 2 years ago. And this is how he said it.
Hi there, this is Mike Quinn. You'll know me as Nien Nunb in Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. And you're listening to Generation X-Wing.
Nien Nunb. How do you doubt a guy who played the character for years, the original character, and then played him in episode 7, 8, and 9? Sometimes it's almost like correcting someone on their own name. So I did a little more digging, and I found this interview he did on the Star Wars Show with Andy Gutierrez, July 12, 2017, where they actually talk to him and they straight out say, how do you pronounce the name?
I didn't say your most popular character's name because it's a bit of a debate.
Yes.
And I want to settle it here officially.
Okay.
So we,
Officially.
like exclusively on the Star Wars Show, settle the debate. How do you pronounce?
Nien Nunb. How do you pronounce the name Nien Nunb?
I've always said Nien Nunb.
Yeah, most people do, or Nien Nunb or whatever. So to me, he's always been Nien Nunb.
I like it.
So
and since
it's easy to remember.
you are Nien Nunb, it's now Nien Nunb.
Officially on the Star Wars Show, Nien Nunb. Yes, we settled it once and for all.
To me, part of me says that if this is the name he's been using all these years, and this is a character that is close to him and is synonymous with this character, who am I to argue about his name? At the same time, he does pronounce Yoda Yoder. So how much do we trust the actor who plays the character? Mike Quinn said that he truly believes that Nien Nunb survived based on the fact you don't see him dying in episode 9. You don't see the explosion? There's no death. But then other sources in Lucasfilm say he died. Rest in peace. So who do you believe? And if Mike Quinn is possibly wrong in this, could he be possibly wrong in pronunciation? I'm hoping he's right on the fact that he lives. In fact, I truly believe he lives, but that's just another story altogether. Hashtag Nien Nunb lives. But I do like what he said in the interview. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it. It's up for interpretation. So how do you pronounce it? I don't know if I'll ever find an answer to this. It's A, because I don't think enough people give a crap. And B, Star Wars fans are fickle. We all have a way of pronouncing things. We all have a way of how we perceive something. We have our hills to die on in certain cases. And we have our habits, the way we've been pronouncing it all our life. There's all these different ideas of Star Wars lore. And I think that's the same just in real life. There's so many ways to pronounce different things. I think the key is just to accept it and move on. So how am I going to pronounce it? I don't know. Does it flippin' matter? You know who I'm talking about. It's not like I'm putting a red jumpsuit together with a vest and all of a sudden, poof, Owanawanga. You got Bib Fortuna happening there. It's not happening. It's Nien Nunb. 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 It's the guy with a head that looks like a stack of pancakes. How are you going to pronounce it? It's up to you. How am I going to pronounce it? I'm probably going to flip-flop. I kind of like both. I like 9 because I'm a guy of numbers. But I'm also a guy of habit. And I say Nien. I've said Nien since I was a kid. So what was the point of this video? Ugh. Just to educate you. That's what I do. That's my job. I educate people. I like diving into this sort of thing. I guess next episode, Kashyyyk or Kazook? Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you haven't done so yet, follow me on my new Instagram page at Outer Rim Rookie. There you're going to find all these pictures of my Nien Nunb costume build, as well as the work that I did for the Scout Trooper and my work with the 501st Legion Outer Rim Garrison of British Columbia, as well as my friends from the Falcon Base, Rebel Legion, Wasura Clan, Mando Mercs, Saber Guild, and the Droid Builders. We are bad guys doing good. And we have a lot of fun giving back to the community. It's been a little bit rough lately because of COVID and not a lot of activities. I hope you check out my videos on the Generation X-Wing Podcast YouTube channel. Thank you for getting me to 100. I'm keeping that. That's staying up until I get to 10,000 or 100,000. Until then, I'm loving that thing. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Give it a like. Share with your friends. I greatly appreciate it. And remember, armor and co-pilots are built on hope. Bye.